No one in the small town of Greywood ever expected 17-year-old Mira Hale to become the center of a storm that would shake the entire region. She was the quiet, kind, polite, calm, always reading a book, always sitting in the back corner of the classroom with her headphones in. She wasn't the type to argue, wasn't the type to fight, and certainly wasn't the type to make noise. Teachers often forgot she was present. Students barely remembered her name. She lived like a whisper, but that whisper was about to become a roar louder than any courtroom had ever heard. It began on a rainy Thursday night. Mira was walking home from her part-time shift at the library. Her backpack held only two things: a worn-out novel she reread every week, and her journal, where she wrote things she could never say out loud. The streetlights flickered as droplets tapped against her jacket. She kept her head down, counting her steps, waiting for the moment she'd finally reach home. But she never made it. A black pickup truck slowed beside her. 5 boys older, stronger, arrogant in the way boys become when no one ever tells them no, leaned out the windows. They were known troublemakers, the kind who laughed at danger because the town always looked the other way. Mira didn't even look when she heard the whistle. She just sped up. But the truck stopped. The doors opened, and before she could even turn, the 5 of them surrounded her, their shadows stretching long across the wet pavement. What happened that night would haunt the town forever. Mira's voice was lost, her breath snatched away, her world broken into pieces. When it was over, she lay on the cold ground, trembling, bleeding, unable to scream because shock had stolen even that from her. She stared at the sky, watching the clouds drift across the moon, thinking this was how her story ended: quiet, invisible, silenced. But fate had other plans. A passing motorcyclist spotted her. He jumped off his bike and ran to her, wrapping his jacket around her shoulders. He kept asking, "What happened? Who did this? Can you speak?" But Mira's lips didn't move. Her throat felt locked, like a door someone had slammed shut forever. She was rushed to the hospital, barely conscious. Doctors whispered about trauma-induced muteness. Police asked questions she couldn't answer. Reporters circled like vultures once the story broke. Everyone talked, except Mira. For weeks, she lay in her hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sound of monitors beeping. Nurses tried to talk to her. Therapists tried their best. Her father cried silently when he thought she was asleep. Her mother held her hand every minute, praying for even a single word. But silence was all she had left. And yet, in her chest, a fire was growing. A quiet anger. A memory of their faces. A memory of what they took. She couldn't speak yet, but her mind was screaming. Then came the moment that changed everything. One afternoon, a female detective named Mira Hale entered the room. Unlike the others, she didn't rush to ask questions. She didn't pressure Mira. She simply sat beside her and placed a voice recorder on the table, but didn't turn it on. Serena spoke softly. "Listen, Mira, I know you're scared. I know they hurt you. I know they took your voice. But they didn't take your truth. When you're ready, not today, not tomorrow, but someday, I promise you, your voice will be the thing that destroys them." Mira stared at her. Something inside her shifted. Serena continued, "I'm not asking for a statement. I'm asking for one thing: your courage. And I know you still have it." That night, Mira dreamt vividly. She saw the attack, the road, the truck, their faces. She woke up trembling but with her jaw clenched, fists tight, heart blazing. 2 weeks later, during physical therapy, her therapist asked her gently, "Mira, can you try to say anything? Even a whisper?" Mira shook her head. But then she remembered Serena's words, "Your voice will destroy them." A spark lit. She opened her mouth. No sound came, not at first. Her throat burned. Tears streamed down her face as she pushed, forced, fought. Finally, a breath escaped, then a broken syllable. "H, help." The therapist froze, then smiled so wide she nearly cried. "You did it, Mira. You spoke." Those 2 shattered syllables became the beginning of a comeback no one imagined possible. Over the next few days, Mira pushed herself harder than the doctors advised. She tried speaking alone, whispering words into the mirror, repeating names, sounds, memories. It wasn't easy. Every sentence felt like a fight. But she kept going, driven by an unwavering rage wrapped in quiet determination. When the police returned to collect her statement, they expected silence again. But Mira lifted her chin. Her hands trembled. Her heartbeat raced. "I'm ready," she whispered. The officers leaned forward. Mira looked straight into their eyes and said the words that would shake the entire community. There were 5 of them. The room fell silent. Her voice was soft, shaky, but it was sharp enough to cut through every lie those boys would try to tell in the coming months. She spoke for 3 straight hours. She described every detail. She named all 5 attackers. She explained where it happened, how it happened, and how she remembered everything. Detectives listened with stunned faces, realizing the quietest girl in town had become the bravest witness they had ever seen. Her voice cracked, her throat hurt, but she refused to stop, because every word was justice being reborn. By the end, Detective Serena placed her hand on Mira's and whispered, "You just changed the entire case." News spread like wildfire. Parents were shocked. Students whispered in hallways. The 5 boys were arrested, taken out of school in handcuffs. Their families hired expensive lawyers, claiming Mira was lying, exaggerating, trying to ruin their sons' futures. But Mira didn't break. For the first time in her life, she wasn't invisible. She was unstoppable. She practiced her testimony every night after rehab. She stood in front of a mirror, speaking out loud, stronger each time. Her parents watched her transform from a broken girl into a warrior prepared to face the monsters who tried to silence her. The trial date was set, and everyone waited to see if Mira would speak in court or fall apart in fear. But they didn't know the new Mira Hale. The girl who survived. The girl who refused to stay silent. The girl who was ready to look 5 attackers directly in the eye and destroy them with the truth. This was only the beginning.